I'll move it up by commissioners' announcements, because the
just move 6.
equalization is only going to take a minute.
Yeah, move it clear.
All right?
Yep. It's going to be the longest meeting. Yeah, you probably just know it.
Ready, Deb?
Yep, we're up when you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. Today's March 1st, 3 o'clock. Copy of the Nebraska Open Meeting Act rules are on the north wall. All 5 commissioners are present, along with our county administrator, Dan Hoynes, our county clerk and register of deeds, Deb Houghtaling. I see Jackie Moorhead from the assessor's office and Trace Jones from the treasurer's office. If you would, silence your cell phone. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, breeze through a quick equalization meeting, and on to better and funner things. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One item on the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion. Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, 2 items on the regular agenda. The minutes, please.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion. Please vote. Final items.
Whoa.
Sorry. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ayes 4, abstain, Mixon.
I apologize.
I'm sorry.
Okay, tax corrections 16963 through 16975. Jackie Moorhead, Deputy County Assessor. And, well, do you have any questions for Jackie, Board?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none.
Okay, all agenda items having been addressed as published. The Board of Equalization is adjourned. And we'll reset real quick here for the Board of Commissioners.
Just 1 minute here. Okay, we're good.
Okay, thanks. Welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting. It's March 1st at 3:03. Nebraska Open Meeting rules are on the north wall. All the key players are here. And we'll get right into the board agenda. Going to call a quick audible here and move item 6.6 up to the front. 6.6 is a resolution 2022-062, which removes K9 stack from service and recognizes Dr. Rockwitz and Twin Creek Animal Hospital for veterinary services for that wonderful dog.
Don,
And,
what was that number again? I'm sorry. What are you moving?
Number 6.6.
Yeah,
6.6.
6.6. And I would like to invite Sheriff Davis up to make some comments. Sheriff Davis.
Thank you. I'd like to have some people come up. Dr. Rockwitz, could you come up, please? I'd like Jason Jones, Deputy Jones, to come up. And retired K9 Stack, please come up. A little bit about K9 Stack. He's a 9-year-old Belgian Malinois. He was named after investigator Rick Stack, one of our fine investigators who passed away from cancer in 2013. Being named Stack, actually after Rick, was big shoes to fill, and he did just that. K9 Stack was certified in patrol, also narcotics detection, tracking, and evidence recovery. He was instrumental in recovering 3,800 pounds of marijuana from a storage facility. Additionally, in 2 separate traffic stops, he recovered 2 pounds of marijuana and a pound of cocaine, as well over 1,000 illegal THC vape pens. He's been used dozens of times to search buildings after burglaries before the deputies went in. He also apprehended a robbery suspect who was believed to be armed. Because his handler, Deputy Jones, is a SWAT member, Stack has assisted the team dozens of times in searches and securing the perimeter. He's been retired for a little bit, and Deputy Jones tells us that he still gets upset when he sees the cruiser leave and he's not in it. I also want to introduce Dr. Rockwitz from Twin Creek Animal Hospital. He has actually done great service for our canines and our canine unit, and he actually saved Stack's life 2 times. Once, Stack wasn't feeling right, wasn't eating correctly. He was brought in by Deputy Jones, and Dr. Rockwitz noticed that he had a problem with his spleen, and he, on his own, did not charge the county, conducted emergency surgery, and actually saved his life. He would have died that night if he hadn't taken out his spleen. And then again, shortly after he retired, he began to walk with a limp. Deputy Jones took him in to see the doctor again, and again, no expense to the county, he offered to amputate the dog's leg. As you can tell, Deputy Jones decided to do that, and I'm sure there was a thought process involved there. A little bit of history. He actually came to us first by Deputy Adam Vale, Deputy Adam Vale, who's now Detective Adam Vale from the Omaha Police Department, and he was there for 2 years before he became partner of Deputy Jones. A few days after the surgery, I did call Deputy Jones and asked how he was doing, and he said, "You won't believe it." The next day, he was walking on all 3 legs, and the day after that, he was running up and down the stairs, so he was very happy about that. Canines put their life on the line every day. Just recently, one was lost in the line of duty in York, Nebraska. You probably saw that. They put their lives on the line for their handlers, other law enforcement officers, as well as the general public. But besides their work, many times they become a family pet, which is the case here. He's currently enjoying retirement, patrolling the acreage that he lives on, chasing deer, raccoons, and occasionally the Amazon delivery driver. I'd like to borrow the dog for a little bit. Deputy Jones does say that even with 3 legs, Stack would still jump in the backseat of a cruiser today and outrun all of us and drop a suspect if he needed to be. So please help me congratulate both Deputy Jones, Stack, and Dr. Rockwitz. You out?
Look. Oh.
That's not like knowing. She's been pivotal with Stack as well. It's not just a work dog when he comes home, he's looking, like, goes to work, you know, and so, also being in the military, she's been in charge of taking care of Stack in the past, and so, a lot of hard work, dedication on her end, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Just catch him.
Jones, right? What's that, Deputy Jones? Deputy Jones, could you come back up here for a second? So, one of the board members is really thoughtful, and the rest of us just kind of like, sign our name to the cards. But Commissioner Burmeister bought a parting gift in appreciation, certainly for the entire board, but especially for Commissioner Burmeister, to thank you and Stack for your service to Sarpy County. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, that was the fun part of the meeting. So if you were just here for the fun part of the meeting, don't feel obligated to stay because we're going to do some county stuff, and it's generally not that exciting on most weeks. But we'll get back into our regular agenda here. And
Don, are you going to go ahead and finish the motion on this one, though?
oh yes, I'm sorry.
Please.
Good point.
Thank you.
Thank you
So
so
moved.
much.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Warren, a second by Mixon. Any discussion on that? Please vote. Congratulations, Stack.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thanks,
Okay,
Deb.
now, you're going back up to,
Okay, commissioners' comments. Commissioner Burmeister.
I have none.
No, thank you. No comment.
I'll just want a little bit of a shout out. I mean, we have not a great situation in the world, but for the Ukrainian people and their fight for freedom and standing up for freedom, I think they deserve a shout out, and our prayers are with them. So.
Like to provide a safety, no. Inside joke.
Okay. All right. Well, we got several items on the consent agenda to 3. Do any of the board members want to see those moved? Any of those moved? If not, take a motion to approve as published.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, we have one item on our planning and zoning agenda. It's a public hearing and resolution. It was tabled from February 8th. It's Resolution 36, adopting amended Sarpy County zoning regulation text amendments. Jason Kubicek, County Planner.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just wanted to mention that
Internet, there you go.
push that over. Okay. We are requesting to table this indefinitely, just for more further explanation or exploration on the subject.
Okay.
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion by Warren and a second by Commissioner Burmeister to table this item indefinitely.
Nicole.
Not if we're going to table indefinitely.
Okay, that's fine. I was just making sure.
I would say no if we're going to go indefinitely on this.
You don't have to, but it's fine.
Is indefinitely okay?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Regular agenda, minutes from our February 15th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Warren. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, abstain Mixon.
6.2 is a public hearing and resolution 4-5. Direct purchasing to request bids and set date of sale for county-owned land at the southwest corner of 144th and Harrison Street, a portion of Lot 240B Willow Creek replat. Beth Garber, Purchasing and Capital Projects Manager.
Thank you, Chairman.
Don, I'm sorry, what number are you on again? What number are you on?
6-1.
6-2. 6-2?
6-2.
They've moved this all around. Is that the one, Nicole, you dropped to the bottom?
It was, but then the
All right, okay, then I know where I'm at. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
The county currently owns this vacant land on the southwest corner of 144th and Harrison Street. It was originally procured for the Harrison Street expansion project. After that project is complete, we no longer have a future use for this property, and we have adjacent property owners who have interest in procuring it. We are recommending releasing bids for the sale of this property with the exception of 20 feet of the northern portion, and then I will come back to you on March 29th with a proposed purchase agreement.
Questions?
This is a public hearing.
Questions for Beth?
Wait, you said 20 feet on the north? That would
Right.
be.
Right away.
Right.
Question?
Towards
No, I
yours.
understand that. I'm looking at this green or this blue thing, and it looks like it, the sidewalk and everything are. Is that what we're selling, or are we selling 20 feet less than that?
Which we were selling 20 feet less.
Less than that. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Beth? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody want to come forward and address the board about this issue? Please state your name and address for the record.
All right, thank you. Sheriff Kelly, members of the Sarpy County Board. My name is Jim Lang. I'm an attorney at 8526 F Street. I represent Kirshner LLC. They're the adjoining owner, and we support the resolution. Any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those.
Questions for Mr. Lyon? Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Anybody else want to address the board? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and take a motion on this resolution.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Mixon. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, item 6.3 is Resolution 55, awarding the low bid to Iman Plumbing, Heating, and Air for the Juvenile Justice Center chiller replacement. Beth?
Thank you, Chairman. On January 19th, 7 bids were opened for the JJC chiller project. After review, it's recommended the bid be awarded to the low bidder, Iman Plumbing, for $112,463. We received bids ranging from the low bid to $156,025. Facilities management has worked with Iman Plumbing and has had good service and communication. Recommended approval.
Questions for Beth?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Klug, second by Mixon. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, item 6.4 is Resolution 58, committing the use of $7,826,757 of American Rescue Plan Act funds to the projects listed in the agenda. Bill Conley, CFO.
There we go. Okay, good afternoon. I want to take a couple minutes and just give you an update on the ARPA fund and a second round of recommended uses for ARPA, and so I just have a few slides. Some of these are repeats, but you know, I think there's you know, certainly the ARPA funds that we've gotten are important. We want to make sure that we're managing those appropriately, and so just as a reminder, when we were notified that we got ARPA funds, $36 million in total, half of which we've received, the other half we will receive in May, we formed a county task force, established a website, developed priorities, and requested input and requests from the community and from the county offices and departments. So we've done a lot. We're trying to make sure that we utilize the funds appropriately. Since I last presented in front of you on December 14th, we've done a number of things, and a lot has changed. We have revisited the requests that were made to us in October by the community and by departments, had a lot of discussions with those organizations. Some of them have changed, some of them dropped off. We've reviewed and analyzed the Treasury Department's final rule. That was issued on January 6th. And there were some changes between the interim final rule that was issued last year and the final rule that was issued on January 6th. So a lot of our efforts, and kudos to Jenny Rock for all of her great work, is we're trying to make sure that we comply with the ARPA guidelines, regulations, so that we don't have a problem down the road. And Jenny led the charge on this. We submitted our first quarterly report on the SLFRF, which is ARPA funds. We had to do that by the end of January. That was no easy task. I think Jenny helped identify a number of bugs in the Treasury Department website, so we got that completed. We have continued networking and consultations with other counties nationwide. I have kind of a list of other counties that I talked to, and we have collaborated, and that's been very positive. We've monitored possible legislation in the U.S. Senate and the House, and I think very importantly is for each of the recommendations in Phase 1 and in Phase 2, we've prepared white papers that support how each of these expenditures comply with the ARPA regulations. So we've gone back to all the literature and documented so that when and if these are ever there are ever questions or there's an audit by the federal government, we can make sure that we are in good position. And we've started to expend funds on the Phase 1 commitments. So far, we've expended about $9.4 million of the Phase 1 dollars. So as a reminder, here are some numbers. Again, the total ARPA funds, $36.36 million. Phase 1, approved on December 14th, was for $14.4 million. The largest piece of that was for the Correctional Center, which was $13 million. And that's where we've spent most of the money since December 14th. Today, this resolution is to seek your approval for Phase 2 recommendations totaling $7,826,757, and I'll talk about that list here in just a minute. After this, and assuming this is approved, we will have remaining a little over $14 million in ARPA funds, and those are really in two different buckets as outlined at the bottom there of this slide. There's one bucket that we started with $10 million of that can be used for general government, and the restrictions on that are less, meaning we can use it for most anything related to county government. And so we're trying to preserve those dollars, and we have $9.1 million left of that. The other $5 million, roughly $5 million, are outside of that have to be used for things that are very specific under the ARPA rules. So it has to be used for responding to the public health emergency and negative economic impacts through assistance to households, small businesses, and nonprofits. Why that's noteworthy is on the list today is a few of the items that kind of fall in that category of what we're going to have to spend the rest of the $5 million on, meaning we are going to be giving and providing additional funds in the future to nonprofits, small businesses, and assistance to households. And so with that, the Phase 1 commitments, just a reminder of what was approved on December 14th, but today, notably, the Phase 2 recommendations are listed here. The biggest item is a few different sewer projects that these are sewer operations that the county operates, not the wastewater agency, but the county operates a number of sewers and some needed modifications to those sewer operations. And this fits very well under the ARPA guidelines in the infrastructure category. So this is a very good fit, and it's one that will allow us to make some needed improvements to those systems. You've previously approved the forensic psychiatry fellowship with UNMC, and that's a really good fit for use of ARPA funds as we expend those dollars over the next few years. So that's what we want to commit ARPA funds for. And then we have a number of other things. I won't necessarily go through all of them. I know you're familiar with them. The thing I would say about all of these items is that they're impactful. They're impactful to the county operations, which impacts the citizens of the county, and they're directly impactful to residents, whether it's tourism activities, better communications for emergency response, better service to those in need for the food pantry and other things. So I'm pleased with this list. I think it's a very diverse list, and will enable us, again, I guess, to regroup and come back to you in the next 3 or 4 months with kind of a phase 3 list of recommendations. So what are the next steps for ARPA? We will manage and monitor the expenditures of the phase 1 and 2. We will continue to document compliance with ARPA and submit the necessary reports, continue to review our requests against the evaluation criteria, and come back to you this summer with a phase 3 commitment recommendations. So I will pause there and try to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
Bill, if looking at expenditures in this category, if we're not careful about how we give the money, is there a risk that it could be taken back if we don't meet the guidelines there?
Yeah, I'll go back to the list. Any of the projects that are non-internal, not to the county, we're going to make sure that we're going to make sure that they spend it on the money, on the purpose that we give them the money for. So my plan is to work with each of them individually. If they have the cash flow to pay for or buy the item, we will then reimburse them. If they don't have the cash flow, we will advance funds as needed and ensure that we get receipts back, demonstrate that they've spent the money in accordance with what our wishes are, or that they have to refund it.
Thank you.
We talked this morning. I had some real doubts on a couple of these this morning and was pretty well mindset to vote against a couple of them, but was challenged to go back and dig deeper, and which I did. And you put out an amazing amount of information, not in long papers, but in short things that are very readable. And I very much appreciate it, and I support all these. The only thing that I would maybe mention, this next phase, we're headed back into more that are going to be 501c3s, potentially things on the business side, that we may add a couple of people to the committee that would be community people, that would be just good for input, give us a little bit more direction.
Okay, great, appreciate that.
And thanks to the commissioners that were on that, as well as you and your team, Scott. I don't know who else was on it.
Jenny Rock.
Would there be any benefit, Bill, in your mind of, because talking to a couple of the commissioners, it sounded like a lot of the applicants didn't quite meet the criteria. And I don't know if that's because of lack of knowledge or their inability to write, but would it be helpful to maybe republish the criteria again and give some of those that didn't reach the level a mulligan, I guess, if you will? So because I think it's going to be difficult to find worthy beneficiaries if they can't meet the threshold. I don't know if that's a good suggestion or not. You guys sit on the panel, but
I think it's a tough one just because of where we are in the timing and the fact that we had asks way over the amount of money that we have. But I don't know, something I think we can examine.
I think that's a good idea. I was just commenting real quick. I think it's a good idea. The other thing is, it's like getting on a path. You don't have to know exactly where you're going yet. We have 2.5 years left, right? 2.5 years left to spend the money, so we have a fair amount of time. And so I think as maybe time goes on a little bit, there might be additional clarity of some projects in the community. But I think it is a really good idea, and we talk about that. We talk about how do we get a better handle on what would really move the dial in the community. So we can continue to talk about that at the committee level and figure out how to get better input.
okay, great, thanks. Any other questions?
The only comment I have, just echoing Commissioner Warren's great job. I've been looking at all of this and all the information, and I think as with anything else, it's the critical piece of all of this is getting people to apply, and then the proper vetting, and then the proper administration to make sure the money is spent the way it's supposed to be, because obviously we don't want anything coming back. So as long as we take care of all of that, we're in great shape. And thank you for all the work. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Bill and Jenny for all the hard work there. That was a lot of documentation and a lot of work. And we
Distilled
appreciate
into
it.
very consumable information, so thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Commissioner Klug. Discussion?
I don't know, but there's 3 members of 2 of the volunteer fire departments that are here. I don't know if you folks want to speak at all to any of this?
Come on, volunteer. Come on.
Well, thank you.
Sure. Give you a chance to sing your high school or college fight song up here. All right, thanks for coming, though. Appreciate it. Is anybody else here from any of these other organizations? Okay. Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, last agenda item is 6.5. It's a resolution 060. It's an indirect cost allocation plan and report for use in fiscal year 2023. It was prepared by Maximus Consulting Services, Bill Conley, CFO.
There we go. Okay. This is an annual process where we come to you for your acceptance of the Maximus cost allocation study. And we do this for a number of reasons. We do a cost allocation study. It's really at least a starting point with grantors, organizations that grant us money, or for contracts with other organizations to house inmates, or for students in our JJC. These rates may or may not be used. There are some grant organizations that may or may not pay up to a certain amount, but nonetheless, we do the study so that we have the information. And it's a pretty comprehensive piece of work where they take all of our numbers and they rejigger them a little bit. That's a technical term, but they take all the indirects and try to apply them into the various functions. Some of the numbers changed quite a bit. I'll try to highlight a little bit about it. We do have a new team at Maximus that I think is healthy. There's some fresh eyes, and they're trying to make sure that we capture all the costs. And so I guess the first one I would say is kind of in that category. Our overall indirect rate increased from 33% to 51%. And a lot of that is due to really higher allocations of costs from various departments and really a more thorough getting input from the various departments. And so I think that's just a matter of a little bit different process, and it's not terribly unusual. The indirect cost rate for the county attorney child support, that increased from 23% to 61%. And it's really small dollars, fairly small dollars. So the numerator, the top half of the equation increased from $250,000 to $700,000 due to higher allocations from the county attorney. Again, we appreciate the county attorney looking at this very closely and allocating time. So it's probably one where we were understated in the past, and we're more reflective this year of what the overhead, the indirect cost rate is for that activity. The indirect cost rate for the clerk of the district court, this decreased from 67% to 44%. Last year's, and I'm not an expert at the cost allocation study, but the way they do it, they have roll forward adjustments. And last year's number was 17% higher because of roll forwards And so we are working with Maximus to try to take those out of the equation so that we don't have as much up and downs and try to make it more level. And so you'll see compared to the previous years, 2017 through 2019, the 44% for this year looks reasonable. So where the numbers changed a little bit more is down in the green area. The jail daily rate increased from $152 to $210, really attributed to the denominator. Our number of prisoner days decreased by 12,399, or 23% from last year. Probably attributed to the pandemic and COVID, would be my guess. The juvenile daily rate increased $674, or 73%, to just under $1,600 a day. That's due to some increase in costs that were allocated, and also, again, like the jail, it was 33% decrease in their juvenile days in the program. I think they average a little over 6 per day over a year, and last year was about 9 students per day in that program. So that's causing the rate to go up quite a bit. And then finally, the care daily rate. CARE is the Children at Risk Education. I guess in layman's terms, as I understand it, it's a juvenile program for at-home monitoring, and that daily rate also went up, nearly doubled to $166. And again, it's because of the number of student days in the program, really decreased by half. Presuming that might be pandemic related, but so that's the kind of the overall summary of the Maximus cost allocation study. We're pleased with the work that Maximus does. Allison and her team do a great work on this, and so I'll try to answer any questions you have, but I seek your approval.
Questions for Bill?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Commissioner Kluge. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Commissioners is adjourned. Thanks for coming.
John, I need signatures before you go.